Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kate. This is Diamond Painting and Dr. Pepper, and today I have a tag video for you guys. Michaela Renee tagged me in the top 5 diamond painting tag that was originally posted by Natalie over at Diet Coke and Diamonds, and this one seems really fun, but also I gotta say really stressful for me because I find it so hard to narrow my favorite things down to like a top anything because I keep just wanting to, but oh, what about this one? What about that one? You know, like it's really hard to not include some of the ones that are my favorites because I just always have more than 5 favorites. So I'm going to do my best and try to keep it to just 5, although I will say I think every one of these categories has an honorable mention that I allowed myself, so we're just going to get right into it. In the background, I'm going to be working on Artsy Girl, and I recorded this section that I'm working on a while back. I'm quite a bit further along in this painting than you're seeing here, but I recorded it at the time because I thought it was an interesting section to work on. So I knew I'd use it for something in the future, and I'm using it now. So there you go. Okay, so our first category is top 5 artists. I'm going to go ahead and choose artists that are with Diamond Art Club because if I allow myself to go outside of that, I could go on for probably ever. So we're just gonna go with Diamond Art Club artists. So number 1, I'll say, is probably pretty obvious. It's Mrs. Butter D. I love her artwork so incredibly much, and it translates so well to diamond painting, and all the colors are so fun, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. So Mrs. Butter D is my number 1 favorite artist. The rest are not really in any order, but I also have Ivy Dollamore, of course. Love her artwork. It is often very detailed, and she paints beautiful scenes, and those are some of my favorite things to diamond paint, is like an artwork that has a lot going on in it so that every section you're doing has something fun to work on. And then we have Miss Holly. I am kind of similar to Mrs. Butter D. They have a kind of coloring book style where there's line work and then you kind of can fill in inside of that with the colors. I love diamond painting that way, and both Miss Holly and Mrs. Butter D have artwork that is like that, and it's just a style that I really enjoy while diamond painting. And I also love what Miss Holly chooses to draw, like the subjects that she draws. I love her little scenes and everything. So yeah, Miss Holly. And then Chrisabug is another one, similar to Ivy, where I love the scenes and like the way she composes her artwork. It's just really fun to diamond paint most of the time. There are some with Chrisabug that have a lot more of like a something going on in the center and then like a solid color background, which I don't always love, but my favorite ones from Chrisabug are like the scenes that have a lot going on in them, and her style is just gorgeous. And then kind of a new favorite for me is Marigona Suli. I just recently finished Cozy Christmas Witch by her, and she recently had a release come out that I wasn't able to get my hands on, which is that little bookshelf dragon partial that came out. I just love her style so much. It's so soft and gentle, and there's like, for Cozy Christmas Witch and a lot of her other artworks I've seen, there's just so much going on in every section of the artwork that makes it really fun to diamond paint, similar to like Miss Holly. And so you can kind of tell my favorite styles, but yeah, oh my gosh, I love her artwork and I can't wait to see if more comes out from her. And as an honorable mention, I am going to talk about Sonia Stegeman, who released one kit with Diamond Art Club called Office that I have in my stash and I'm excited to do. I actually really love a lot of her other artwork that I guess was voted on and didn't make it through, so I don't know if we're ever going to have more of her artwork, but I also know her a bit more personally, and she is literally just the sweetest human being, and I have followed her artwork for many years on YouTube and Instagram, and oh my gosh, she has some of the most gorgeous artwork that I have ever seen. She actually drew the flower, the peony flower, that I got tattooed on my arm and that my eldest Sam got tattooed on their arm. And her style recently has changed quite a bit. She does a lot of style exploration, and now it's really like graphic and cool, and I just love how she's constantly trying to push the envelope of what she can do with her artwork. So yeah, Sonia Stegeman is my honorable mention because there's only one kit from her on Diamond Art Club, but yeah, love it. Next category is my top 5 kits that I've completed. So this one's a bit harder to pick like a top 1. I am going to go ahead and say that Rose Library is my top, but it's a tough call. So Rose Library by Ivy Dollamore, I completed that last year and it was a blast to work on, and I love the finished product so much. It is hanging up in my house and I want to get it framed at some point if I can. Also, Pride by JoJo's Art. It's well, I'll be putting pictures up, but it's the one with the dragon and the fish and the tiger and the parrot, and the woman painting them all into existence. I absolutely adore that one. It's also hanging in my house, not framed, because that's expensive, yo. But yeah, love that one. Another is Satura by Margaret Morales. Something about the colors on that one and just the way it all came together. It is so pretty. And I had so much fun working on that one too. So that's definitely in my top 5. Cozy Christmas Witch by Marigona Suli that I was just talking about because I was talking about Marigona Suli. That's one of my all-time favorite finishes. It came out so beautiful and it was so fun to work on. So yeah, that is up there. Let's see what else. Oh, Artist Room by Mrs. Butter D. I just love everything about that painting. The colors, the subject matter. It's got a little Kirby in it. And I brought that one to work on when I went down to visit Katie for the first time, Diamonds and Washi in California. So it has really good memories attached to it too. So love that one. My my honorable mention for this category is my first diamond painting that is my own artwork that was released with Diamond Art Club, and that's Unicorn Rainbow. And mostly just because of the novelty of an art product of mine being sold by a company. It's just a feeling that I will never forget. So I purchased one. I purchased more than one, but I did one, and it was so much fun to work on. So yeah, those are my top 5 completed with an honorable mention. Okay guys, I'm cutting in here real quick to say that I recorded the first half or so of this video weeks ago, and I have to update my choices for top favorite finish because I finished Artsy Girl, and I think it takes spot number 1. So I think it takes the place of Rose Library as my favorite finish of all time. So I had to update that for you guys. Okay, category number 3 is the top 5 kits you're most anticipating working on. So this was a tough one because I kept looking through my gems flow, and I got excited about almost every single one that I looked at, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to work on that. Oh, I can't wait to work on that one either. So it's really hard for me to narrow it down to 5. but I guess we'll go with A Whole New World, which is a Disney Aladdin kit. And as soon as I saw that artwork, I was so excited about it. Aladdin has a special place in my heart. It was my eldest's favorite Disney movie. She would watch it over and over and over again when she was little. So it's like, I mean, it's ingrained in my brain. It brings me back to that time when my eldest was just tiny and wanted to watch Aladdin over and over. And the artwork itself is absolutely so cool. The way it's composed, and it's got Agrabah in the background and the big moon and Jasmine and Aladdin on the flying carpet. Just, it's going to be so much fun. Next one is House on a Cliff by Image World. Is it House on the Cliff or House on a Cliff? I don't know. Whichever one. I don't do a whole lot of landscapes, but the landscapes that I do buy are ones that I just absolutely adore. And this is one of those. Although I didn't buy this one. This is one that was part of a mystery box that I didn't buy. So I didn't get this one when it was originally released. And then for my birthday one year, my son Fletcher was able to find it on a D-stash and got it for me for my birthday. So it has some extra special meaning because of that, because that was a very thoughtful thing for him to do. And it's just such a pretty landscape. And every time I look at it, I don't know, it reminds me of like stories I would read as a kid, and it's just gorgeous. So really excited for that one. Next, we have Office by Sonia Stegeman. I am very excited to work on that one at some point, probably for a Pride Month, since it is like a lesbian couple. And it's got a lot of browns, so it'll have to be a year or a moment in time where I am in the mood for like a monochromatic image. But I love the artwork, and I love that it's one of those scenes I was talking about where every section of the kit is going to have something fun to work on. Very excited. I'm also, it's on my rainy day stash list because it's the only Sonia Stegeman that has been released, and I love her artwork so much. So I am like, I kind of want to get to it soon, but I also want to savor it and have it in my stash for a while. So I don't think it'll be this year, but maybe next year. The next one is Clara's Christmas by Miss Holly. I had a real hard time choosing between that one and Cozy Christmas Witch last Christmas for a Christmas kit to do. I absolutely love the artwork on that one and the colors and like just the way it came out render-wise. And it's a Nutcracker artwork, which is so much fun. I love the lore of the Nutcracker. I have seen it like performed ballet-wise when I was a kid once. I'd love to see it again sometime, but it screams Christmas to me, and it's so pretty and fun. And the colors on this one, I feel like, are so unique for a Christmas kit, but it still feels very Christmassy. So I'm excited to work on that one. It'll definitely be during the Christmas season one of these years, whenever that is. Next, we have Star Spirit by Jamushka or Jamaica Murphy. I don't know why, but that's another one where as soon as I saw the artwork, I was like enamored with it. And I think it's so beautiful and ethereal and fun. I can't wait to do that one. So that one is on my list, and it's not very big. I don't think it'll take very long. I think it's also rounds. So it might get done sooner rather than later because it won't be a long project. Honorable mention for this category is A Day's Journey, which is another one of my own artworks, and it's the biggest one and also the only square that's ever been released of my artwork. I'm a square girly. And it's another landscape. I don't draw a lot of landscapes, but this is one that I had done as practice and really liked how it came out, and it passed the poll to make it on to be made into a diamond painting, and I think it's going to be so much fun. All of my other works that have been made into diamond paintings, I've already diamond painted, with the exception of the 2 mini Dazzles sets that I drew. But this is the only one I haven't diamond painted yet, and I'm kind of that's why I'm holding on to it. Like, it's in my rainy day stash for sometime when I need a pick me up, and I'm excited to work on it at some point. So it's just hanging out in there in my rainy day stash for someday. Okay, next category is my top 5 diamond painting accessories. I will have to start with trays, I think, because that for me makes one of the biggest differences when you're diamond painting, is to have a better tray than like the little ones that most diamond paintings come with. So my favorites are Muni made trays. I just like how long they are and how the drills line up in them, and how they make it easy for me to put the drills back in the containers. Yeah, and they're pretty. So I love Muni made trays. And then after that, of course, I have to go with hand-turned diamond painting pens. My favorite brand is Donna Bass pens. I just love their turnings, and they do such a great job. And then third, we have DAC's metal multi-placers. Honestly, those were a game changer for me. Like, I haven't gone back to any other placers since I got those, and they make it so much easier to multi-place and be able to see what I'm doing and where my drills are going and to line everything up properly. It's just, yeah, a game changer. I love them. And then Elizabeth Ward storage containers, because they have several sizes, and I like to kit up. I start with the smallest drill bags, and they go into the smallest Elizabeth Ward containers. So I do that until I get to the bag size that won't fit into smalls, and then I move to the next size up and continue to do that until I reach the largest size, and by then I'm done kitting up. So I really enjoy how I can move them around within the overall container and arrange them however I want. I typically arrange them in rainbow order because I like how it looks, and it helps me to find color families and stuff, like when I'm first getting used to where things are. So yeah, Elizabeth Ward trays. And then fifth, I have to use putty in my multi-placer, and my favorite has to be the Dr. Pepper scented one from Randa's Crafty Corner. So, but pretty much just putty in general. I find it so much more helpful for multi-placing than trying to use wax. So, and then my honorable mention for this category is the new DAC trays that come in the new toolkit, because I am actually loving using those as a secondary storage system for like smaller projects. Like if I'm doing a mini Dazzle set or like a 9x9 kit, typically those will have few enough colors that I can just kit up right into the trays and just be able to grab the tray I need with the color already in it. And it works so well. And I love that they come free with every kit, and they've got that sliding lid to keep everything in place. And the little front stopper is the perfect size to put like a symbol sticker on. So yeah, they just work really great, and I love them. Okay, that finishes up all of the diamond painting related categories, and now we're moving into the ones that are more like about me and my interests and stuff. Natalie had said, like, she gave us 2 categories, which is your favorite movie and your favorite TV show, and then said if you want to add any more, feel free to do so. So I did add a few more at the end, but I'm going to start with my favorite movies, which I excluded Disney movies in this category because that would just be, they take all the top spots probably. But what I did was make that its own category. So we'll get to that next. But first, movies. This was an especially hard category for me because I grew up watching movies. I'm a huge fan of movies. So it was really, really hard to narrow it down to just 5. So what I tried to do was like pick 5 different genres of movies and pick a favorite from each of those. So these don't have like a number 1, but the first one is Neverending Story in the like young adult category, or you could call it like the 80s movie category. I grew up watching this. I remember very vividly. I think I was 4 years old and I was at my very first school where I went to pre-K, and don't ask me why, but they showed us this movie at daycare afterwards, after school. And Gamork, the wolf in this movie, scared the ever-loving crap out of me at 4 years old. And so I don't know if they just were showing that to everybody without watching it first, or they didn't, they were like, buckle up, kids, you're gonna have to deal with it. I don't know, but it scared the heck out of me. But I grew up still just absolutely loving that movie, and I've watched it again recently, and it holds up. Even though, it was made in the 80s and stuff, it holds up. It's so awesome. It's just, it brings back a lot of feels for me. So Neverending Story in the young adult kind of category. And then for superhero category, because that is another one that I watch a lot, I'm gonna say Avengers. That is my favorite of the superhero movies. I just love how they were able to tell so many characters' stories within that first Avengers movie without it feeling too overbalanced or underbalanced. And the story itself was really great. Has all my favorite characters in it, and there's a lot of fun banter. Joss Whedon is one of my favorite story writers. So yeah, I love the Avengers. And then action adventure, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Oh my gosh, I could not choose an Indiana Jones movie. He's just iconic. And so yeah, The Last Crusade is my favorite. I love the interactions between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery in that movie. And then of course you have all the riddles that they have to figure out at the end, which I love stuff like that. And we quote that movie all the time in my house. So that's the third one. Fourth, comedy. I'm going to go with Dogma, which might not be a movie a lot of you know, but I love that movie. And it's not typically a movie that I think would be my style of comedy. It's a little bit over the top and a little bit crass, but it has a lot to say about religion and the way people use religion for different purposes and what it's supposed to be about. And I just love what it has to say about that topic. And it's got a lot of actors in it that I enjoy. That one has Alan Rickman in one of my favorites of his roles and stuff. So it's just a really good movie. And then animated, I'm going to go with The Last Unicorn. That might be, even including Disney, it might be my favorite animated movie of all time. I just think it's a masterpiece. It's okay if you disagree with me. I just love that movie to death. It's so fantastic. And the soundtrack is amazing, and the animation is gorgeous. Yeah, it's wonderful. And then honorable mention for this category is my most recent favorite movie. And I'm going to give that one to The Life of Chuck, which I just watched last weekend on Father's Day with my dad. And then this weekend again with my eldest and their boyfriend. And it's a beautiful movie. Like, it's wonderfully made. It's one of those movies that makes you think, but there's also, like, you go and watch it and you can't help but smile at certain parts. It's such a good time. And it's definitely got some sad parts in it too, but if you get the chance to watch that one, I highly recommend it. It's just absolutely fantastic. Okay, moving on to favorite Disney movies, and I did go ahead and exclude Pixar in this lineup because then I'd have too many to choose from. that are favorites. So we're going to go with just Disney animated movies. And so number 1 goes to The Lion King. That is my absolute favorite Disney movie. I watched that one 5 times in the theater when it came out, and I remember just singing the soundtrack with my best friend. I played the Super Nintendo video game of it. Like, I was super into The Lion King when it came out. I used to draw fan art for it all the time. Yeah. Lion King number 1. The rest of these are in no particular order. I absolutely love all of them. So, Beauty and the Beast, A Goofy Movie, Lilo and Stitch, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Those are probably my top favorites, but if you put me in front of a Disney animated movie, I'm probably going to love it. I think for like an honorable mention, I will go with Tangled, and it's my honorable mention because it's not in the old 2D style like the other ones, so it's set apart a little bit from them, but I absolutely love Tangled, so it gets my honorable mention spot. All right, my favorite TV shows. This one was probably even harder to narrow down to just 5. I have the worst time with this, you guys. Okay, so, but number 1, my very favorite overall is Firefly. I have not found a TV show that hits as hard as that one does. It's so wonderful. If you guys haven't seen Firefly, please watch it. It's even if you don't like sci-fi, it's so funny and so smartly written. It's another Joss Whedon show, and yeah, highly recommend. I'm gonna kind of cheat a little here for the next one and just say Star Trek, like overall. I love most of the Star Trek franchises. I think my favorite is Deep Space Nine, followed by The Next Generation, but it's hard to pick, especially between those two, so I'm just gonna say Star Trek overall. But I am a big fan of the Trek universe and just what it has to say about the hopeful way that our society could be if we would finally figure out how to prioritize just other people and live accordingly. So love the Star Trek universe. And then How I Met Your Mother is probably one of the 5. This is one that my husband and I watched together, and we quote constantly, and it's a comfort show for me, so we watch it over and over. And it's just really funny, and it has that group of friends kind of thing, kind of like Friends, which I also love. But if I had to pick between the two, How I Met Your Mother, I think, was done better. And it could partially be because it's newer and it did build off of what Friends started and everything. But I like the characters better and the stories better. And I think they did the humor better and stuff like that. So yeah, How I Met Your Mother. Then we have Stargate SG-1, which is just, I grew up absolutely obsessed with that show. Even my eldest, Sam, is pretty much named after a character from that show, Samantha Carter. So yeah, that tells you how much I was really into that show. But it's just one of the best sci-fi shows that's ever been created, I think. I've noticed that I tend to like a lot of sci-fi when it comes to TV shows, which with books I like fantasy more, but I guess with shows I'm just really into sci-fi. So yeah, Stargate SG-1 still holds up. I watch it a lot even now. Like, I go back and rewatch episodes, and it's got some of the best standalone episodes too. So yeah, love it. And it has Richard Dean Anderson in it, who is one of my favorite actors. Like, I loved him as MacGyver back when MacGyver was on. I did not add that as one of my favorite TV shows, but it's definitely up there. Like, seriously, guys, I could have done so many shows. But anyway, after Stargate SG-1, these aren't in really any order, but Highlander, the series, that was my favorite when I was a teenager. Growing up, I think I was about 16 when I discovered it, and I got so into the lore of that show. And I watched the movies, and the movies are pretty disappointing, except for maybe the first one. The rest of them are kind of, some of them are okay. The second one's awful. The fourth one, I was so angry because the fourth movie brought in Duncan MacLeod, who is the main character of the series, and Connor MacLeod is the main character of the movies. So they did a movie with both of them for the fourth one, and they totally messed up Duncan's character. Like, they did something in that movie that is completely out of character for him and also breaks the canon of an important thing in the show. So I remember being extremely pissed off because I was so excited to see that movie. And then I watched it and it broke my heart. So yeah, but the series, back to the series, is, I don't know if you guys have ever watched it because it's kind of older, but it's based on immortals who can't die except by getting their heads chopped off. And they have to kind of fight each other because in the end there can be only one immortal left standing. They call it the game, but I love it because it goes back and forth between the present, what's going on in the present, and then back to the past and this one immortal who's like 400 years old, and you get to see a lot of different times in history through his eyes, so it's really fun. So yeah, Highlander. And then honorable mention, I had such a hard time picking. I have 3 listed here, and I'm trying to pick between the 3 of them. Maybe if I say them really fast, then it'll be like it's just one. So Buffy, Loki, and Medium. There you go. That's my honorable mention. So those are all the categories that Natalie had put forward. And now we're on to the ones that I'm bringing up myself. So I couldn't do a top 5 without listing my top 5 favorite books or book series. So number 1 is the Stormlight Archive. If you've been watching my channel, you probably know because I'm doing a diamond painting that's based on the Stormlight Archive, and I always mention how it's my favorite series, and I'm so excited to be doing a diamond painting based on it. But yeah, Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson is number 1. It would take a lot to move it from that spot. It's just so different than anything else I've ever read, and it focuses a lot on things like mental health, which is something I feel like isn't usually focused on in fantasy, but I love how it's done. So there's that. Wheel of Time is another of my favorite series by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, who took over for Robert Jordan when he passed away before he could finish them. But this series spans 14 books, and by the time you get done reading it, the world seems as detailed and fleshed out as like the real world. It's really well done. And it paved the way for a lot of today's fantasy. So I spent a good deal of time reading that throughout my life as the books were coming out. So Wheel of Time. And then the third one is The Secret Garden. This is probably my favorite, more classic book. I had a copy of this book as a kid, and I read it so much that the whole book fell into pieces eventually. So I recently purchased a new copy from the bookstore because I broke my old copy from reading it too much. It's a really, really, I don't know, something about that book just brings up certain imagery in my mind. It's very nostalgic and magical. I love that one. And then also another one that I loved growing up that is something I can't not mention in a top 5 is The Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander, which is a 5-book series that are just kind of really short books based on Welsh mythology. but they're pretty much fantasy books. And actually, the Disney movie The Black Cauldron was loosely based on these books. I wish they had done a better job of adapting them because the books themselves are much better than the Disney adaptation, even though I still loved the Disney one when I was a kid. But yeah, the books, I read those at least 100 times, the whole series, when I was younger. And I wrote to the author, Lloyd Alexander, when I was a kid, and he wrote me back, which was really cool. And then a more recent favorite is Ready Player One, which I know a lot of people don't necessarily love the book and think it's boring, and like the movie better. I like the movie also. I think the book is better, but it could be that only people who were born around the 80s would appreciate it quite as much, because it's basically like a love letter to the 80s. And so for me, it's very nostalgic. It has all the kinds of things I love, like video games, music, and VR is something that I've always been super intrigued by. And so I love the way it's incorporated in this book. So yeah, it's definitely deserving of a spot on my top 5. And then for my honorable mention, I'm going to have to put like my most recent favorite again, and that is Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I was not expecting when I started reading that series, but it just blew me away with how fun it is. And not only how fun it is, but how serious it can get and the kind of commentary it can have on real world situations through the vehicle of these zany situations that the characters are having to go through. So yeah, I love how much depth is in them that I wasn't expecting. Okay, the next category, speaking of video games, I felt like I had to add a video games category because video games have been a big part of my life since I was just a little kid. And so probably my absolute favorite video game ever is The Sims. And I started playing The Sims when Sims 1 came out in 2000. So for 25 years, I've been playing this game and I still play it. And yeah, it does keep mostly getting better. I mostly play Sims 4 now because it's the most recent one. Sims 3 is probably my overall favorite of all of them, but I can't really play it on my computer because it just starts to glitch out after a while. So I do wish that EA would do a better job of making sure these games work well, and I'm not super happy with the way they've decided to go in the future for The Sims. But it's still a very important piece of my personal history, so The Sims gets the top spot. Next, I gotta say World of Warcraft. I actually met my husband through World of Warcraft, and it's one of those games that just I played for years and years and built up a whole community. I met friends on that game, and I still play it every once in a while. So it's held the test of time. I do wish they'd make a new version of it with like better graphics and stuff. That would be really fun. I don't typically pay to have the monthly subscription to it unless I'm really in the mood to play it, and then I'll play it for a while and stop again. But World of Warcraft and Mario Kart is up there because I've played it with so many of my friends and family over the years, and it's just one of those games that everybody can play together and have a good time. It's really the only racing game that I play, and I love it so much. It's just zany and fun. Then Donkey Kong Country, like the original Donkey Kong Country from back in the 90s, that game is just so nostalgic for me. I used to play that after school every day, and it's got a wonderful soundtrack. I like the second one too, and its soundtrack, but it's a platform game, like doesn't really get made as often anymore, and it has really great mechanics and some really fun levels. So very nostalgic. And then Stardew Valley. Yes, Stardew Valley is definitely one of my top favorites. I think it's so much fun to play, and I like all the aspects of the farming and the dating and the fishing and everything you can do to like build your farm the way you want it. Another wonderful game. And then honorable mention, I'm gonna say Dr. Mario. This is one of the first games that came out on the Nintendo, and I remember my dad and I had bought the regular Nintendo like when it came out, and this was one of the games that we would play together all the time. And I still play it to this day, like with my kids, and we have like our own Dr. Mario tournaments when they're here. So this is just one of those that's always going to be up there on my list of favorite video games because of all the history that comes along with it. So that brings us to the very final category that I selected to do for this tag, and it's going to be my favorite bands. Number one, that's going to go to Styx. If you guys have been around for any length of time, you might have noticed me mention them. They are absolutely my number one top favorite. I've been to see them in concert, I think 14 or 15 times. I did lose count. And then kind of right behind Styx is the Eagles. I love the Eagles, which is unusual for me, I would say, because I'm not a super huge country fan, and they're kind of like country rock. But my dad loved the Eagles, so I was exposed to them a lot growing up. And so I know pretty much every one of their songs, and I think they're wonderfully written. And I love the voices of all the members and everything. So Eagles is up there. And then third place is a more recent band called Fun. They unfortunately broke up not too long into their career, so they only have a few albums, but they remind me of like a mix between Styx and the Beatles for some reason. I'm probably the only one out there who would say that, but that's the vibe they give me, and I just think they're so much fun, which works with the name of the band, Fun. And then I'm gonna go with Simon and Garfunkel. This is another band where their songs are just so full of meaning, and I love what they have to say about the time that they were written in, and they're so artfully written and sung, and they don't have like maybe they have one bad song, but it's hard to think of one. I love every single one of their songs. I remember my dad, when CDs first became a thing, my dad bought like their complete works on CD, and that was one of the only CDs we had at first. So I listened to that thing on repeat. It was a 3-disc set, and I love all their music. Then we have another one that I grew up with, which is John Denver. He was my very first concert. When I was 6, my dad took me to see him at Big Bear Lake in California. We used to live in California, and it was like outdoors, and he talked to the audience. He was just wonderful, and I loved what he would write songs about and sing about. There was a lot about like the environment and preserving it for future generations. And I just really respected that even as a kid. I loved that about him. I was a teenager when he passed away unexpectedly, and I sobbed for like a week because I had felt so close to his music because it was so ever present in my growing up life. So that was a hard loss for me at the time. All right, and then my honorable mention is my more recent favorite band, which is Shepherd, and they're also a band that I'm still kind of exploring, so I don't know all of their songs yet, but every time I hear a new song by them, it's exciting, and I dig it. I just really like their music. So that, my friends, was the last category. Thank you so much for sticking around while I blabbed at you for 45 minutes or however long it's been. I appreciate you, and I'm sorry this took me so dang long to get out for you guys. Like I said, I have a really hard time trying to narrow down my favorites to just 5, and it's not even like that deep, but I keep thinking, what if I forget this? What if I forget that? And yeah, it's strange to be in my brain sometimes. Anyway, I think everybody has probably already done this tag, but if you have not, then you're officially tagged. I will try to remember to put all the tag categories in my description, and also tag Natalie, who originally came up with this tag. And then also I was tagged by Michaela and Tiffany, and I think that might be it. If you also tagged me and I forgot because it's been several weeks, I apologize, but thank you for tagging me. And I hope you guys enjoyed my version of this tag. And with that, I will DAC you in the next video. Bye guys.